bismillahi raxmaani raxiim mudan ra'iisul wasaare xubnaha labada gole golaha shacabka iyo sanadka ama aqalka sare safiirada diblomaasiyiinta ururada naafada sharafta kale xubnaha ka socda ururada naafada miidiyaha iyo dhammaan qaybaha kale ee maanta meeshan jooga assalaamu calaykum waraxmatullaahi wabarakaatuh maanta sharaf weyn bay ii tahay aniga iyo dadka naafada Soomaaliyeed in aad nagala soo qayb gashaan oo aynu halkan isugu nimaadno inaga oo xusayna maalinta caalamiga ah ee loo asteeyay naafada adduunka ujeedada ugu weyn ee maalintaas loo xuso ama loo dabaaldego waxay tahay in kor loo qaado xuquuqda iyo adeegyada loo fidiyo dadka naafada ah caalamka oo dhan waxaa lagu tiriyaa dadka naafada inay ugu hooseeyaan qaybaha bulshada marka la fiiriyo dhinaca aqoonta waxbarashada dhinaca shaqada iyo dhinacyada kale iyo marinada dhismayaasha danta guud iyagoo sidoo kale la kulma takoor inagana bulshooyinkaas ayaynu ka mid nahay oo dadkeenu intaas oo dhan way la kulmaan marka anigoo waqtiga beeqaaminaya ra'iisul wasaare hay-adan oo aad ogtihiin hadda inay 3 sano jirtay waxyaabihii u qabsoomay iyo meesha ay hadda wax u marayaan iyo waxyaabaha ku soo kordhay intii hadda ay jirtay. The National Disability Agency is an independent federal entity under the Ministry of Family and Human Rights Development that is responsible for the disability issues in Somalia. The agency implements all the government functions and plans related to persons with disabilities in accordance with the national and international standards. Well, there is no general census has been conducted in the country over the 40 years. The Somali National Bureau of Statistics estimated people with disabilities of 18 years and older at 11.7. Current programs. The first project is a joint program on human rights through UNICEF, aimed at implementing the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities in Somalia. Somalia signed the convention in 2018, but it has not been implemented up to date. The other project is the capacity development and empowerment for persons with disabilities in Somalia, funded by the King Salman Humanitarian Aid and Relief Center through UNDP. Achievements in the last year. As I said, the UN Convention on the Persons with Disabilities, CRPD, was signed in Somalia in 2018, but it has not been implemented. Last year, we had funding for the preparation of an implementation action plan. So we agreed with the UNICEF and UNSOM to create a plan, a national action plan to how to implement CRPD in Somalia. So we've completed very high quality strategy and action plan for the implementation of CRPD. NDA has developed also a 5-year strategy, 2025-2029. Actually, it was not 2025 to 29. It was a 5-year strategy. NDA is currently working with the UNDP and King Salman Humanitarian Aid and Relief to developing Somali Sign Language, and we completed a 3-month training, TOT training. We would like also to cooperate with the Ministry of Education to develop the Somali Sign Language Initiative. You know, sign language is a language. It's recognized as a language all over the world. But the Somali sign language has never been developed. So people with disabilities, people who have hearing impairments, have never had any communication, any formal communication among them or with the other communities. There are few people here with us today and they don't have any communication. Awareness campaigns. Since the Somali Disability Protection Act, NDA is launching target awareness campaign to educating persons with disabilities about the many rights they can exercise under this act, because there was no law that protects their rights before. NDA will air radio and TV programs to the public about the new act at reducing stigma and promoting the full inclusion of persons with disabilities in all aspects of society. NDA will engage community outreach, public campaigns, and collaborative initiatives that help dispel misconceptions to reduce the stigma and foster culture of acceptance and inclusion. Education initiatives. NDA wants to promote, wants to cooperate with the Ministry of Education to facilitate inclusive educational opportunities, particularly for the young persons with disabilities, who often face significant barriers in accessing technical and vocational education and training. So young people with disabilities don't have any skills, so they cannot get a job. So it must be created some programs. NDA aspires to break down educational barriers and provide pathways to brighter future for these individuals. The TVET training for young persons with disabilities aligns with the principles of equal opportunity, non-discrimination, and social justice, enshrined in the international conventions such as the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, CRPD. Employment initiatives. In preparation of the implementation of the Somali Disability Rights Protection Act, which includes a provision that allows 5% of the country's workforce to be allocated to persons with disabilities, NDA wants to cooperate with the Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs and to facilitate job training programs that will enable young people with disabilities to acquire new abilities, enhance their talents, and unlock their full potential in various domains. Job placement assistance and skills development initiatives will empower people with disabilities full employment opportunities and achieve economic independence. Political representation for persons with disability. When the Somali Disability Protection Act allows to the people with disability for the allocation of 5% of political representation of all government councils, NDA will strive to ensure that individuals with disabilities are represented in the federal member states, local governments, that will empower people with disabilities to participate in decision-making process and to initiate policies that promote the rights and well-being of persons with disabilities. So there is no anyone with disability who represented anyone. 4.5, there is no position for people with disabilities. And I know we are going, our country is going 1 vote, 1 man formula. So with that time, whoever official of the government who is going to support the people with disability, they will vote for that person. So people with disability will be very important from now on because they have a vote. They are citizens of Somalia. Mobility devices. Many persons with disabilities are homebound because they cannot afford to purchase the assistive devices they would use for mobility. There are so many people in homes. They have never have an opportunity to go outside. King Salman Humanitarian Aid and Relief Center today will hand it over to the federal government with many essential mobility and other assistive devices to persons with disabilities who are in dire need of such equipment to improve their daily lives and enhance their quality of life. Many individuals with disabilities in Somalia lack access to basic mobility aids, hearing devices, vision aids, communication tools, and other essential assistive devices that could greatly enhance their independence and participation in society. You know, when someone does not have devices, the mobility devices or other devices that they need for as a human being to function, they cannot do anything. Economic integration for persons with disabilities. Article 10 of the Somalia Disability Rights Protection Act promises establishing of the Disability Development Fund by the federal government. This fund is used for issues such as education, economic infrastructure, and development programs for people with disabilities. And I believe that the best way to improve the lives of people with disabilities is economic reintegration through Disability Development Fund. NDI is seeking support for breakdown barriers and stereotypes by helping people with disabilities to access sustainable livelihood opportunities, build financial independence, and achieve economic empowerment. Through tailored interventions, capacity building program, and strategic partnership, NDA aims to promote entrepreneurship, job creation, and financial inclusion for persons with disabilities across all regions in Somalia. Humanitarian response. Humanitarian access for persons with disabilities is vital for upholding the rights and meeting the urgent needs and promoting inclusivity in humanitarian response efforts. NDI calls for people with disabilities are fully included in humanitarian response efforts, have equal access to life-saving assistance and services, and are empowered to lead dignified lives even in the crisis situation. NDI calls for the inclusion of people with disabilities in all stages of humanitarian action, from needs assessment to program design and implementation. NDA is committed to ensuring that the voices and priorities of people with disabilities are heard, respected, and reflected in all their delivery of humanitarian assistance and protection. Finally, NDI calls for cooperation in the implementation of the Somalia Disability Protection Act to improve the quality of life for long neglected persons with disabilities in Somalia. Thank you so much.